Let's roll, baby. Welcome in. It is a Monday East Coast bias right here on the Ringer Gambling Show. We are rocking and rolling with all the takes, hopefully with a whole lot of winners after the aftermath of Week 16, looking ahead to Christmas, looking ahead to Week 17. Triple threat, rocking and rolling. Jastremski here in New York, Joe House in Washington, D.C., Raheem the Dream Palmer in Las Vegas. Of course, we're on the FanDuel Sports Network. Check it out, YouTube, all that beautiful stuff. House, a very eventful Week 16. Here's where I want to start. We had two teams that let us down significantly. The Detroit Lions, who lose outright to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm absolutely disgusted by Detroit. And yes, Raheem is going to mention that I had my under for wins on the season. And yes, I was able to go and cash that bet. Great. I had the Lions every which way imaginable. The end of the half made me sick. Forget about the end of the game. Detroit gets what they deserved. They were not in a position where they should say, oh, we should have won that football game. They deserve to lose. So sorry, Detroit. I'm not feeling sorry for you. There's that. Then there's the Baltimore Ravens. And I don't want to hear about the Lamar Jackson injury. You had a double-digit second-half lead that you flushed away. You didn't give the ball to Derrick Henry. You're a bunch of losers. I'm so sick and tired of the Baltimore Ravens. I'm not in a particularly good mood despite the holiday season because those two teams made me sick. I say all of that, Joe House, to start this program off by saying, who is the bigger disappointment in 2025? The Baltimore Ravens or the Detroit Lions? The floor is yours. The Ringer Gambling Show is presented by FanDuel. FanDuel's got it all. Same game parlays, quick bets for jumping in live, and your way so you can build the bet that fits your parlay. Plus, don't miss out on holiday offers and surprises all month long. Download the FanDuel app or head to FanDuel.com/gamblers to get started. 21 plus and present in select states, or 18 plus and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut.
Oh, it's got to be the Ravens. I mean, if you look at the early season lines, the forecasted wins, the Super Bowl odds, the conference odds, yes, Lamar got hurt over the course of this season, but that's not that unique of a phenomena. The thing that this Baltimore team was supposed to be bringing to the table was a defense that was absolutely dominant down the stretch at the end of last season, and a defense that could have carried them through to the Super Bowl last year, except for their annual hiccup going up to Buffalo. So to me, it's Baltimore by a long shot. There was very good, sensible, split opinion about what kind of a forecast to have for Detroit because the loss of the two coordinators, defensive side and offensive side, obviously with Ben Johnson. And so there was a little bit of waffling around them. But Baltimore, I mean, I can't wait to see all those tickets that are on fire right now. They haven't all hit my account yet, but they're about to, completely on fire with this dismal Baltimore collapse.
Yeah, it's by far the Baltimore Ravens. You look at that first game of the season against the Buffalo Bills. They're up 15 with 6 minutes to go and cough it up. And then it just appears that their season, it just went haywire from there. They get blown out against the Lions. They get blown out against the Chiefs. Lamar Jackson gets hurt. They get blown out against the Texans. And then it just feels like they never were able to get their season back on track. And I know they had that little win streak, but Lamar was never right, like at any point. And then it felt like they were going to beat the Bengals, and then Isaiah Likely fumbles, and then they lose that game. And then they play the game against the Steelers where Isaiah Likely scores and takes the game-winning touchdown, and they take it off the board. So you just kind of knew that this team was snake-bitten all year long. Like House said, when it comes to the Detroit Lions, a lot of us predicted that they were going to fall off. We felt like their window closed at the end of last year when Frank Ragnow retires, when Ben Johnson goes to the Chicago Bears and takes that team to the next level. It was clear that they were going to take a step back. So it's by far the Baltimore Ravens, the most disappointing team in the NFL. You got to ask yourself, has their window closed? Because
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Raheem.
Lamar Jackson, I mean, he has multiple MVPs. and you're still not able to get it done. So what's going to happen with Harbaugh? Because it starts to feel like, maybe he needs to go.
No question. It's funny. A couple of weeks ago, we were having a similar conversation about Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And hey, it wasn't just us, because the folks in Pittsburgh, after they got their doors blown off by the Buffalo Bills, were chanting "Fire Tomlin" during Renegade in a pivotal game for Pittsburgh. Well, since that point, the Steelers go and beat Baltimore. They smoke Miami. They win outright in Detroit, and the gift that keeps on giving, Steelers over 8.5 wins, is one that we can bring home to the window. And House, it's a reminder, as long as Mike Tomlin is the coach of the Steelers, we must continue to bet the Steelers over again and again and again. No analysis, no logic, just do it, put it in your portfolio, and you'll be very happy about it at the end of the year. But we were having these discussions about Pittsburgh. That's put aside now. They wouldn't win in their next 2 games. Aaron Rodgers, Mike Tomlin, they're going to the playoffs. They're hosting a playoff game. Baltimore, I'm with Raheem on this. They had 2 MVP years out of Lamar. They had multiple chances where they were the number 1 seed to go and get themselves to a Super Bowl. Forget about winning. How's they didn't even get to the Super Bowl? If I'm in Baltimore, I want a new head coach. John Harbaugh has had a wonderful run. He's had an exemplary resume. But when it's time for change, it's time for change. And I'll say for Detroit, too, I think their window is closed, too. Ben Johnson is no longer there. Jared Goff needs the situation to be perfect around him. Their salary cap situation is not going to get any better. Those, to me, House, are 2 perfect examples of teams. When you have a chance to strike while the iron is hot, House, you better do it.
Well, we have to add one more team if we're standing here with the shovel in the middle of the cemetery, and that is the Kansas City Chiefs, who are in the exact same kind of sliding doors position right here.
At least they
now.
won, though, House. I don't feel sorry.
They were in the Super Bowl last year. I'm just saying in terms of inflection point seasons and what does the future portend. I mean, it's really hard to sit here right now and forecast the 2027 projected Super Bowl contenders. I mean, here the week of Christmas of 2025, and we just rattled off 4 of the teams that were at the very top of the board in terms of Super Bowl contenders, conference contenders, that I don't think are going to be sniffing it. I think there's going to be at least 2 coaching changes amongst the group that we're discussing right now. I think there's a long shot possibility out there that Andy Reid takes a look this offseason and says, you know what? It's been a great run. I've done a great job. It's been a great situation with the franchise. I'm going to let the franchise move on without me.
Wow. That would be wild stuff. I mean, the end of Harbaugh in Baltimore would be insane, just to think about what an extended period of success he's had, going all the way back to 2008. But Andy Reid, with all those championships and what he's done with Patrick Mahomes, I mean, you want to talk about earth-shattering moves. That would be an earth-shattering move. Now, Raheem, I don't want to overshadow what we saw from Drake May in the second half of that game, because it was nothing short of brilliant. I guess I have a 2-fold question for you involving Drake May and the Patriots. 1, did that game convince you that if he goes and smokes the Jets and smokes the Dolphins, and the Patriots are a 1 or a 2 seed, which they would be, he can steal the MVP away from Matthew Stafford? 2-fold. Coach of the Year. You want to talk about an insane race at the moment for Coach of the Year. And the odds board would indicate as such. Mike Vrabel, what he's done in New England. Ben Johnson, what he's done in Chicago. Liam Cohen, and what he's been able to do with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think you could look at any of those 3 coaches and say...
Mike McDonald
in Seattle. I'm not done, Raheem. Kyle Shanahan and the job he has done with the San Francisco 49ers. MVP and Coach of the Year.
Sean Payton get a look. He doesn't get a look.
This is what I'm saying, though, House. Like, you can look at every single one of those Coach of the Year candidates and make a reasonable, logical, sensible argument that they should go and win the award. So, Raheem, I threw a lot at you. MVP first with May. Can he snake it? 2, what in the world are we doing with Coach of the Year? 3 weeks left in a regular season.
Coach of the Year, I'm going to address that first. Do not bet into that market. I mean, you're gonna need a magic 8 ball
Love
to
it.
predict who's going to bet that.
Do I need a PhD in like calculus or in trigonometry or something? Because it's crazy, you know.
Yeah, the only thing that rivals that right now is the most improved race in the NBA. I mean, that's just as crazy. But yeah, so don't bet those markets. Now, for MVP, the thing that you have to understand is that typically to win the most valuable player award, you need to be on a team that wins 12 to 13 games, and you kind of have to be the number 1 seed in your conference. And unfortunately for the Rams, they have 3 bad losses. They have a loss against the Eagles, where they choked away a double-digit lead. They have a loss against the Seahawks, where they choked away a 16-point lead in the fourth quarter, and then they have that loss to the Carolina Panthers. And ultimately, I think that's the thing that could end up doing Matthew Stafford in, because, you know, Drake May, right now, they're 12-3, and they're probably going to win the next 2 games, unless, you know, Denver, you know, finds a way to, you know, to choke a game against Kansas City away. I think the Patriots win their next 2 games. So you're looking at a 14-3 team, and you're comparing that to the Rams, who right now, they're the 5th seed in the NFC. Now, they do have the Falcons and they have the Cardinals, but I mean, they should be able to beat the Cardinals, but who knows what happens against the Falcons? Because right now, the Falcons are playing good football. So I think Drake May could steal this.
I think we need to do a little bit of deep dive here. Let's make this a Christmas project first. I'm not trying to give homework over Christmas, but
I was going to say, House, you know, I thought I was going to enjoy Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. You know, I got to be back here on the 26th to fill in for Sally to do a show. Now you're going to be homework?
this research will be enjoyable. You
Okay.
will enjoy it. We really need to get ourselves in touch with the voters for this MVP race and do a deep. We need to get next level in terms of which way these narratives are going to go, because I think there's an excellent case for Matthew Stafford, and the market agrees. He's still the favorite at -195. The problem I have with the Patriots and with Drake May, who are goddamn awesome. It's been an incredible run. Guess how many teams that they have beaten this season that currently have winning records?
Tampa was that team. They no longer fit the bill. Baltimore,
Bills.
no. They lost to Pittsburgh. Carolina. They beat Carolina, House. Is that the only team?
It's Carolina and
more.
Buffalo.
That's it. Dream got
And
it.
Buffalo, of course. Good call.
In back-to-back weeks. They've beaten 2 teams with winning records as we sit here right now through 15 weeks. And the other aspect of it, and why I want us to do a little homework on this voting composition, is because it's a narrative bet, and Matthew Stafford is an OG. And Matthew Stafford,
Bingo.
when you do
Bingo.
body of work, when you do sustained excellence over a career, when you think about where he came from Detroit, that's the piece of it to me that lines up with the way the market is pricing it right now.
House, I think you absolutely nailed it. I think voters, Raheem, are going to look at the numbers, and they're very comparable between Matthew Stafford and Drake May. It's obviously a much tougher gauntlet for Matthew Stafford being in that division and dealing with the foes he's had to deal with in the NFC and the schedule and everything that comes with it. I'm not trying to take away from Drake May. I think another piece at play here, this is probably Stafford's last go for an MVP. I think that's fair to say. I know he's an ageless wonder. You want to tell me he could come back and do this again next year? Hey, maybe he can. I think it's asking a lot, though, to go and be an MVP, where I think, Raheem, they're going to look at Drake May and say, that young buck's going to be back. He's going to get the award either next year, the year after that, or whatever it might be.
It's tough to be the MVP if you don't win your division. I agree with you guys. I think the narrative is all there for Matthew Stafford. But if you don't win your division, how are you the MVP?
Statistically, it's still the Vegas favorite to win the Super Bowl. Even if they don't win the division, Raheem, I still think they will be.
All I can give you is precedent.
That's fine. It's on record. It's noted. I think it's going to be asking a lot, though, House, over the next 2 weeks for Matthew Stafford to lose this award. That's my feeling.
I have them at 13 wins, right? They're going to beat the Falcons and they're going to beat the Cardinals. They
will win the next 2 games.
So that's
1,000%.
13-4. Seattle still has left. They're on the road for both of their games. It's at Carolina, at San Francisco. Now it's Carolina has a game in hand against Tampa now. And Carolina, I think would prefer to win that game against Seattle, but they're not going to win that game. They're every other week. And San Francisco in week 18, what's that going to be for?
Well, that's the question, right?
Don't
is
have
San
this Monday
Francisco
night
in a
answer
position where they're playing for a division? Or is San Francisco in a position, we'll get to that, and it's a perfect transition for what we are about to do. What is their calculus? What is their motivation going into the final week of the year? So a lot of variables at play, a lot of moving parts. We kind of have a sense for who these playoff teams are going to be as far as who's seated where, who's playing who, what the road to the Super Bowl is going to look like in both the AFC and the NFC. We're kind of in wait-and-see mode, and we got 2 weeks left in a regular season. So when we come back on the Ringer Gambling Show with the East Coast Bias Boys, very juicy Monday Night Football game. San Francisco, keep finding ways. Old Man Rivers, what does he bring to the table? Boys are coming right back. The Ringer Gambling Show is brought to you by FanDuel. 'Tis the season to be boosting on FanDuel because this year you're getting 7 straight days of holiday rewards, each one waiting in the app for you to unwrap. Every day brings a new way to play, so keep checking in to see what drops next. And it all leads to the Christmas Day special, where you can get something extra special. So here's what I really like. I know you got to wait a couple extra days, but it's a parlay involving the Christmas Day game and a game on Saturday. But you know what? It's the holiday season and good things are worth waiting for. We're going to parlay the Green Bay Packers on Saturday night, who are not losing to that sad sack Baltimore Ravens team. And we're going to take the New York Knicks taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Little cross-sport Christmas Day parlay. Packers, Knicks. Away we go. 7 days of gifts. One big finale. Head to FanDuel.com/gamblers to get in the holiday spirit. FanDuel, play your game. Must be 21 plus and present. Select states are 18 plus and present. DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. Welcome back to East Coast Bias with the Ringer Gambling Show, the East Coast Bias Boys. I mean, who's keeping score at home? You know exactly what I mean. Jastremski, Joe House, Raheem Palmer. Getting you ready for Monday Night Football with the San Francisco 49ers laying 5.5 at Indianapolis. Indianapolis needs to keep their season alive. They are playing a 44-year-old quarterback who made his return after being on hiatus coaching high school football for the last 5 years. Now, if I were to turn back the clock, Raheem, a week ago at this time, you proclaimed on this exact program, the Disney movie ends Monday night. There will not be a feel-good story for Phillip Rivers and the Indianapolis Colts. So some time has passed. We've watched a good amount of Week 16. Does the feeling remain the same for this matchup with the Niners and the Colts?
So I'm kind of struggling with this game. And the reason why is because if you look at Phillip Rivers, he can't throw the ball down the field. He's 18 of 27, 120 yards, 4.4 yards per completion. The problem here is that I think this game is game script dependent because the 49ers can't stop the run. I think if the Colts can kind of just stay in this game, Jonathan Taylor can run wild in this matchup. The thing for me is that I'm not sure that that's going to happen. I think the 49ers, they're going to score on this defense, a defense that's missing both of their corners. The 49ers, their offense is absolutely rolling right now. So I think this is a game where either the 49ers are going to win with margin, which is why on yesterday's show, Ringer NFL pregame show, I suggested the 49ers minus 12.5 plus 230 because I think this is either a blowout or the Colts cover and get a close win, possibly. So that's what I'm thinking for this matchup. I'm not going to play a side, but that's what I would recommend.
Okay, House. I took Indianapolis outright. Now, full disclosure, I need to chase you a man's best bet. And the underdog I liked actually a little bit more, ended up being a loser. So maybe it's a good thing I didn't take him in the Arizona Cardinals, and there's a reason why they stink, which is a story for a different day. But it's a kitchen sink game for the Colts. I liked what I saw from them defensively last week. They were competent enough with Rivers, and to Raheem's point, San Francisco, not a great run defense. A defense that has been totally decimated by injuries, but a team on the other side of the ball that has gained more and more confidence and has gotten healthier as this season has gone along. I am taking the Colts plus the 5.5. Full disclosure, I want to root for Phillip Rivers. I want to root for the Indianapolis Colts, so it might be the heart talking. I know I'm sucking up to my guy Dabbundo as we speak. I see Raheem's point on the variance, though. If San Francisco wins this game, I think they're going to blow their doors off. I don't think the game will be close. You, sir, how would you like to play Niners and Colts?
Like a coward. I totally agree with Dream's handicap on this, and you have to really respect where San Francisco is right now on offense. They since Purdy came back, they're 4-0 straight up, 4-0 against the spread. They've won every game by double digits. Now, yes, those games were Arizona, Carolina, Cleveland, and Tennessee. And I think that the Indianapolis Colts defense is a tiny bit better. The way I'm playing this, I'm taking the San Francisco 49ers on the money line and parlaying it with the Indianapolis Colts team total over 20.5. So the Colts get 21 points. San Francisco wins outright. That's plus 247 on the FanDuel Sportsbook. I can't lay the 5.5 with this San Francisco defense. They can't get any pressure whatsoever. Does it matter with Phillip Rivers? Can he throw the ball down the field 20 yards? I have no idea. But the run, I expect a version of what we saw from the Colts against Seattle, a formidable run defense. We got Jonathan Taylor 28 attempts in that game, and that's how they kept it within a field goal. And that Indianapolis defense against Seattle, they held them to field goals. There were 6 scoring drives by Seattle, but they were all field goals. So I'm not going to do anything with the points. I think San Francisco wins outright, but I think the Colts can get to 21.
All right, interesting parlay. Raheem, any thoughts total presiding at 46.5 as we speak?
Nothing on the full game total because I just don't want to have to worry about the Colts offense, but I think you can go San Francisco 49ers, their team total over. I have to figure out what that is. What is that now? Their 49ers team total. Whatever it is, I think they go over there. 25.5. I think that's how I would approach the total, but I don't have anything on this.
All right, I'm not going near the total. If I had to give you 2 anytime touchdowns, and I've had a lot of fun with these anytime touchdowns. Raheem, Prop Prince, I guess, is getting retired. We're going with the Duke of anytime touchdowns as proclaimed by our pal, the prop queen, Ariel Epstein. So I got to roll with that. When the lady talks, I listen. House, you're going to like the one I'm giving out for San Francisco. I love Juwan Jennings, who you gave out in the family meal, and his price at FanDuel is at plus 140. Since he's come back from the rib injury, he has turned into a touchdown machine for San Francisco. And a lot of these weeks, you've been able to get Jennings in the plus 180 range, in the plus 200 range. The market has adjusted. I don't think it matters. I think he's finding pay dirt against a Colts secondary, as you pointed out, that is rather beat up at the corners going into this matchup. So that's the one I like from a Colts perspective, or from a Niner perspective. From a Colts perspective, listen, Taylor at minus 240, there's no way in the world you get me there. I'm not laying minus 240 on anybody to go and score a touchdown. What I am going to pinpoint, Tyler Warren, Penn State tight end, a guy who has had an outstanding season. Maybe you have everybody selling out for the run. You have the tight end on a 1-2 yard out, a little quick dump off from Phillip Rivers, and he finds pay dirt. And his price is very nice at plus 240, Raheem. So Juwan Jennings, Tyler Warren, anytime touchdowns. Do you have anything else on this Monday night game you'd like to share?
I got nothing else. I think, if I had to play it, I would play San Francisco minus 12.5, plus 230. That's how I would play it.
Anything in the prop market you like?
Going to touch a little bit of George Kittle over total receiving yards. Think that he can find himself. I mean, the relationship between him and Purdy, he's only played 9 games, Kittle. second on the team in catches. So receiving yards, I'd see it in the market around 16.5. It's probably going to end up a little bit north of that. I'm still okay with that. So, and then the other one that I was looking at that I like is Pittman under his longest reception. Saw it 15.5. That's minus 118. I just don't see Philip. I mean, it would be Pittman catching a 3-yard pass and running with it for 18 yards to get the over on this longest reception. So under 15.5 for Michael Pittman.
Boys, we have so much more coming your way. Loaded East Coast bias right here on the Ringer Gambling Show. We'll have the Mulligan, the pick we might regret from Week 16, the look-aheads to Week 17, Anthony Dabbundo, and 3 and out still to come. We're just getting warmed up. We'll come right back. Fellas, for the Mulligan this week, it's not a particular Week 16 bet because I don't regret my logic with the Lions. I don't regret my logic with Baltimore. I'll tell you what I do regret, Jailhouse. Doubting Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh is one of the best coaches that football has to offer. Jim Harbaugh wins every single year. It does not matter if it's professional football, if it is college football. The guy is a flat-out winner. It doesn't matter if they lose players to injury. There's not going to be excuses. And even if you look at this Week 16 game, I almost in a way thought this Charger-Cowboy game was a rat because the Cowboys were eliminated. They had nothing to play for. The Chargers were still getting points in Dallas against the Cowboy defense that couldn't stop the 3 of us. So if there's a mulligan, don't bet against Jim Harbaugh to miss the playoffs for the foreseeable future, Joe House. I can't be doing that.
Yeah, coming into the season, we looked at a lot of the things that other teams in that division did to make themselves better, and especially looked at the Rams and I'm sorry, that's the NFC, but with the way that Denver lined up, and we thought that the Chiefs would be right there again, and it looked like the Chargers, all they did was draft Amari and Hampton, but it just doesn't matter. And the thing that you have to really give the Chargers credit for, that defense has come alive. That defense is shutting opponents down because they certainly aren't doing anything on offense. So you have to give Herbert credit. They went ahead and exploited the hell out of that poverty Dallas defense. And you have to give Harbaugh credit. I'm with you, right? I'm right there with you, JJ.
Okay. Raheem, I know it was a successful Week 16, so maybe this is more of a bigger picture read on the league. Maybe there is a play you would regret. If there's something that brought you a feeling of I'd like to take it back, is there anything?
I'm not going to lie to y'all. I'm patting myself on the back this week.
That's fine. No. The picks were outstanding. Nobody is saying they're not.
No, but I have to because there was.
I know where you're going. Your Bears and Panthers bets are alive and well, so you're gonna flex instead of using it as a feeling of regret. You're gonna flex. Okay, that's fine.
The Bears. I took them 9-1 on this show, and they're now minus 900 favorites to win this division. So we got that on lock. And the Lions are pretty much eliminated, and the Packers are on their deathbed. And it's unfortunate the Lions lost yesterday because had the Lions won that game yesterday, that Packers to miss the playoffs bet would be live. And it's still kind of live, but it would really be live, especially when you consider that next week, Jordan Love is banged up. He has a concussion. He's probably not going to clear protocol. And then Malik Willis has a shoulder injury. But we got the Bears to win the division. We also have the Carolina Panthers 18-1 to win the division, and they won their game against the Buccaneers last week. So I got to pat myself on the back.
Okay, so here's my question to you on that now, 18-1 boy. Mm-hmm. Tampa is a small favorite to win the division. We mentioned Carolina's schedule. They're hosting Seattle, and then they would play the Bucs. Now, there's a two-way avenue for Carolina to win the division. They can go and beat Seattle this week, or the Miami Dolphins can go and cooperate and take down a Buck team that seems like a hot mess, and Todd Bowles looks to be one of those coaches that's going to get fired, in my opinion, at the end of this year. Just a whole lot of chatter, a whole lot of bad, like everything about the Bucs from where they were earlier in the year to where they are right now is insane to think about. Raheem, is now the moment. If someone on East Coast bias tailed you at 18-1, I know you're not going to do it. You don't hedge. You're not a hedger. There might be some folks out there, though, that may say, hey, I'm getting the Bucs basically a little over even money. If not now, then when? What would you advise them to do?
Yeah, you kind of have to do it now because when you consider the fact that the Bucs, they were laying 3 points to the Panthers on the road, which means that, if let's just say the Panthers lose this week, the Bucs win this week, a week 18 game for the division, it's going to be over 3. So you're not going to get a better price to hedge than right now.
I would agree with that. House, any regret for week 16 or no?
We talked about it before the show. I have no idea why. I did get involved with the Saints against the Jets. I did give out on our Sunday pregame show Tyler Shuck at 275 yards or more. Parlay that with the Saints money line. That did pay off at plus 480. My regret is not playing that also at 300 yards or more because he cleared 300. And I don't know why that wasn't my wise wager for the week.
You and me both.
That's the way
because I gave it out on this show on Monday, and I gave it out to anybody who was willing to listen. And yet when we have this show, Doc House, this knucklehead gets way too cute. He second guesses himself, and he just can't go. Like, I honestly, whatever pick I give out now for the bet I can't wait to make, you guys should just remind me to put it as a wise wager. Like, put it in the doc. Don't even think about it and move on. That's what I need to do.
It's available. We have 2 more weeks. Yeah. All you can do is get better.
And then we still got the playoffs. So
there's always the playoffs. Agreed. Okay.
Yeah.
Week 17. Speaking of looking ahead, Raheem, we got Christmas Day games. We got 2 Saturday games. Then you get to Sunday and Monday. Is there a bet for week 17 that you at this moment can't wait to make?
Ooh, there's a lot actually. Let's go to Christmas.
Well, please share.
I think you've got to lay it with the Cowboys. I think you have to lay it with the Cowboys because, look, if Mariota isn't playing, this line is short. I also think you can take the Cowboys team total over. I also think on Christmas you can kind of look towards the Broncos. I think one of the good examples is what we saw in Week 18 last year. The Broncos last year, they played a depleted Kansas City Chiefs team, which shut it down. Well, this is pretty much the same thing that you're seeing this week, and that's why this line is going up. They might hit the team total themselves. I also think you can kind of – I want to say the Lions, but I don't know how much they care. Max Brosmer, he doesn't give you much, but I'm going to stay away from that. But I like the Raiders next week. I think the Giants –
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm positive about it.
Just be careful with that game, Raheem. That's all I'm going to say. I feel like no matter what side you take, you're going to be disgusted.
Here's the thing. I haven't bet the Raiders. You guys realize I haven't bet the Raiders all year.
Wow.
I bet them once.
I bet them week 1 against the Patriots.
Me too.
I have not bet them the entire year. Because remember,
I had that weird Jacksonville game where I took them. I had a couple of the losses, too. Like, I took them against the Commanders, which was a stupid pick. I remember in, like, week 4 or week 5. I did get to a point. I had them on Thursday night against Denver. They actually have not been terrible for me, to be fair, Raheem. Yeah. They have not.
Pete Carroll doesn't tank. And then I think this Giants team, look, Jackson Dart had more roughing the passer yards than actual yards yesterday. So I just think the Giants are just done. Honestly, I think they should have kept Brian Dable because since Brian Dable got fired, I mean, the offense has been dumped.
Well, here's the difference, Raheem. The quarterback is playing neutered. He's playing a different style than what we saw and what we fell in love with. And that's why there's an argument, well, why is he out there? No, he needs to learn against great schemes like the one Brian Flores threw out, how to manage, how to grow, how to be a professional NFL quarterback. Like, there's a narrative in New York, he's not getting anything out of this. Don't play him. No. Take the damn lumps, learn from these mistakes, and grow from them. But you're going to bet the Raiders, fair enough. House, can I throw one at you?
I'm listening.
The Green Bay Packers. I am so done with Baltimore. I think one of those 2 quarterbacks will suit up. And here's what I see. Organizational competence at the moment from Green Bay that should have went into Chicago and beat the Bears if they can recover a damn onside kick. I was very happy about it. I had the Bears money line. I was celebrating on Saturday night. But the Packers outplayed Chicago for a good majority of that game. Baltimore stinks. What more do you need to see, folks? They stink. They're poorly coached. The quarterback's not right. They don't give the ball to Derrick Henry. The defense is overrated. House, I'm on the Packers. There's another one that you're going to give out that I really like. I didn't want to steal your thunder.
It's quite all right. I'm with you on the Packers. I think it's perfectly fine to fade the incompetence of Baltimore. We're there, and we'll see what happens with Harbaugh. I'm on Houston. I think that Houston is traveling to LA to play the Chargers Saturday afternoon, and very quietly, this game is really important for playoff seeding. Both of these teams, I think, are kind of competing to see who gets to go to Pittsburgh and play Pittsburgh on the road, which I think is the most desirable game in the AFC playoff picture. And this Houston team is in a different class defensively. You'll hear it all week long coming in. The Chargers have had a series of wins here that are so commendable. The way that they beat the Eagles, the Chiefs, and they ended the Chiefs season and ended that dynasty. And then going into Dallas that way, super impressive. But what Houston can bring to the table in terms of putting pressure, especially up the middle, it's not anything that this Chargers team has seen. Look, this Chargers team gave up 7 sacks to the Eagles. And it was the Eagles' own buffoonery and incompetence that served the game up on a platter. I don't think Houston's going to do that. Woody Marks didn't play this week against the Raiders. I think that's because they wanted him ready for this game against the Chargers in this playoff seeding. So I like Houston, and I like the under. It's a 39.5-point total. I'm playing both of those.
I'm right there with you with the Houston Texans. Remember, they absolutely wiped the floor with the Los Angeles Chargers wildcard weekend a year ago. And that Texan defense is good as any defense you're going to find in the NFL. Didn't love what I saw from C.J. Stroud. I thought he stunk it up against the Vegas Raiders. And I know that Charger defense is stingy. But House, Houston Texans been good to us in these sort of spots. I'm right there with you. Fellas, when we come back, Anthony Dabbundo has a big Monday night ahead of him. It will be the Colts and the Niners. We have 3 and out with AD. He got a future for us? We'll find out when we come back. I'm Anthony Dabbundo. Joins the Triple Threat East Coast Bias on the Ringer Gambling Show. Buddy boy, it is a game day for you.
Yes.
No code. What's the vibe at the moment? How we doing?
The vibes are curious, I would say. I think that there is a general excitement for tonight that's in the community, because this is the home game that Phillip Rivers is going to play, right? You know, last week we weren't really sure what to expect. We saw enough competence to believe that it won't be a total disaster, but we're also very guarded because we're also very jaded. And quite frankly, this franchise has been through a lot of turmoil with their quarterback position in the 2020s. And so Rivers tonight, national TV, we don't get a lot of home primetime games. You know, we're not like the Commanders and Raheem's Cowboys, you know, every week, primetime this, primetime that. So it's an exciting moment for the city, for the squad.
Okay. Is this going to be a focal point of 3 and out or not necessarily? I don't want to hijack you. This is a big night for you. So I guess we'll wait on your Colts Niner thought. Is that going to be the final way we do this?
Yeah, we'll get to that later. I want to start with a situation that I'm sure all of you have been in, that I found myself in on Saturday night as Bears-Packers was unfolding. So I got invited to a holiday party, and I didn't know a ton of people there. So I'm at this party, and I'm kind of trying to feel it out. Like, the game is not on the TV.
Oh, that's a terrible. I'm already pissed off. I'm walking in if it's not on. I'm just throwing it out. I'm already mad.
Right. And there were sports fans there, but it was not a sports fan party by any stretch.
See, that's fine. It doesn't have to be. Like, it's Saturday night. You have some decorum. You're throwing out the wine. You're throwing out the beverages. Get the damn football game on. Come on. This is America.
So I didn't watch the first 3 quarters of the game because I did not feel comfortable enough to the point where I could be that guy. Again, didn't know a lot of people at this party except a couple of them. And
you're I'm kind of Dabbundo, knowing you like I do, I'm a little disappointed because you're a brave. I'm going to tell you why. You got cojones. You're a brave, brave guy. I've seen you in social situations. I've seen you at Billy's. I've seen you at Ringer Core Week. You strike me as the sort of guy to go, excuse me, very polite. Can you do me a favor? Can we get Packers Bears on one of these TV? Like, Maybe this is the loud New Yorker in me coming out.
Let him get
I don't
to the
have any shame
punchline.
house. I don't have any
Let
shame
him get
house.
to
I would do it in 5 seconds.
Let him get to the punchline.
I know, but I'm too excited. Anyway, Dabbundo.
Meanwhile, as you guys know from podcasting with me every Monday this season, I am heavily leveraged on Green Bay to win the division from preseason. Before the trade, I added more midseason. So this is basically the game that decides the bet. So I'm starting to sweat now. When they get the onside kick, I'm like, guys, we're turning this game on. Meanwhile, we got like 8 people now huddled around the TV. Everybody's locked in. 4 guys we figured out had money on the Bears. So I'm like very quietly trying not to, telegraph who I have money on. It's just it was a fascinating experience because I'm sitting there and everybody's going nuts now when the Bears win the game. And I'm just nodding along, just very quietly, trying not to be, a jerk. And it ended up being a really awful experience.
How
So
many drinks
I
did you have after that experience?
Probably like 4 or 5.
Okay.
Yeah. I was nursing before, but after that, it just ruined everything, honestly, because, all respect to the Bears. I know the Bears fans have been coming after me all year and making fun of me. But really, Green Bay had that game won. And the fact that they blew it is so frustrating for us futures holders, for Cheeseheads Nation. And now the whole season's in flux. Again.
They got a major gift, though, with the Lions losing outright to the Steelers. Major gift, Dabbundo.
I mean, they're still going to make the playoffs, I think. I hope. I pray. They need one more for the over. But it just...
Wow, they're not even... They haven't even covered the over yet.
9.5. Yep.
That's
they
high.
need
And the
one
Packer
more,
final
Raheem.
2 games, hosting Baltimore, and then the Vikings, last game of the
It
year.
feels like the same as last year, where there were some bumps in the road middle of the season, but then they were starting to peak, and you're like, okay, they beat Detroit. It's like, wow, Green Bay might really have something here. They're leading the division. They beat Chicago in the first game, that dramatic win. And then the last 2-3 weeks, just like last year, when Watson got hurt, when Love got banged up, the defense started to have some issues. Last year, the last 2 or 3 weeks completely derailed their season, and it feels like we're heading down the same path with Green Bay right now because really their defense was so good in that game, even with all the injuries, and it still wasn't enough.
They played a great game. I thought LaFleur did a brilliant job, House, in coaching up Malik Willis, and that's why, looking at this Ravens spot. Now, we're sitting here on Monday. If it turns out that Malik Willis and Jordan Love can't play, you know what? I'll take the L on this. If one of those guys can get out there and do the thing, they're beating the Ravens. The Ravens are so dysfunctional and so messy at this point. I'll take Green Bay at home laying 2.5 without hesitation on that game. I'm not hesitating.
I'm going to be real with you. I think that's a pick'em game. And I actually think the best play on that game, if you're looking at the side, is a Ravens teaser. Because the same way that Matt LaFleur, he can pull something out of Malik Willis, you see it with Snoop Huntley. Like, the Ravens aren't out of games with Snoop. They almost won a playoff game against Joe Burrow with Snoop Huntley.
I remember.
So it's just like that game.
Packer defense is legit, though, Raheem. It's a much better defense than the one they even saw with New England last week or last Sunday.
It's okay. They can be run on now. And now without Micah Parsons and without Wyatt, they're not the same defense that they were. They're really not. Like, I think last week's game, I mean, the game against the Bears, the first half said more about the Bears to me. I think that game is neck and neck. It could go either way. That's just my opinion.
So that's the handicap, right? Because I actually was very impressed with the way that Packers run defense performed against the Bears. The Bears had been running down everybody's throat with that two-headed and really the blocking schemes. The Packers had no problem whatsoever with that, and they said, "Go beat us, Caleb Williams. You go beat us." And they for 3 3/4 of that football game, they did it. It'll be an interesting handicap. I don't have a great feel for it right now.
Dabbundo, I can't believe you didn't get that game on sooner.
Maybe
I think that bothers me more than your paper mache Patriot text that you put in the group.
JJ, that would have made it worse because watching that entire game, the Green Bay was the correct side.
They were kicking ass. I totally agree. Yeah, but you know what?
I mean, that game was funny.
I got to go on the ride, House. That's the thing for me. I got to go on the ride.
I honestly feel like when Jordan Love got hurt, it was better for the Packers.
Agreed.
Because if Jordan Love had stayed out there, I don't know how that game would have gone.
Yeah,
it just
because he wasn't playing particularly well. It's a fair point.
So I felt like Malik Willis almost made the game better for the Packers, and then I don't know, it just went haywire.
Then
Just
he fumbled
send
the
Romeo
snap in overtime
Dobbs.
on 4th and 1.
You need to let Romeo Dobbs just walk home. I mean, if you can't be out there on a hands team and have the ball come towards you and run away from it the way that he did, I mean, he's not on the Packers next year. I wish I could bet on that. Oh, he after that play,
He's still pretty
what are
cheap
you gonna
though.
pay
Like, they
him
don't have
for?
to pay
Yeah,
him, do
and
they?
we'll see what the redemption angle is.
What do
That's
you
what
get?
it's all about.
What do you get for it?
The problem is he's like the only receiver that isn't totally
Hurt.
unreliable.
Correct.
Or hurt. Often.
Correct.
Although he's had plenty of
He's
injuries
hurt now.
himself, but
Yeah.
All right, AD, let's
he has
get
a
to point
fake
two here.
wrist injury.
Well, point 2 was about those papier-mâché Patriots. Apparently Simmons made jokes. I mean, I was making jokes. I stole it from my friend who's a Ravens buddy. We're watching the game last week as the
Wow, the Raven
Buffalo-
fans should not be talking smack to anybody right now. Just throwing that out
Exactly.
there. I'm done with them. I'm so done with them. You could tell them I said that. They make me sick.
The Ravens?
Yeah, they've cost me a lot of money this
Somehow
year.
It's only the second time this year they've blown a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. Usually they average like 3.5 a year. So actually they've improved in that.
They're
way
under
this year.
their usual
They're-
total on that.
They're
Fair.
They're the number 1 bozo team in the NFL. But I think the question we have to ask ourselves about the Patriots now is, as we see Denver take a loss, as we see Jacksonville surge, how would you power rank the top 4 in the AFC going into the playoffs? Because at this point, they'll jockey for seeding. Denver has to go to the Chargers, so they could still fumble there. The Patriots should win their last 2 games. We think the Jags will win their last 2 games. But I guess the question is, how would you power rank the top 4 in the AFC?
Power rank? We're not talking seeding, how it's going to shake
No,
out.
like how likely they are to make the Super Bowl.
Ooh, House, I'm going to go first on this if you don't
This
mind.
is really hard. I grappled with this for a while.
Very difficult.
I have an answer immediately, so go ahead.
Same. I'm still putting Buffalo 1. I am putting, wait for it, Houston 2. I am going Buffalo, Houston, Denver. Oh, the 4th one's tough. Jacksonville.
So no New England at all.
Nope. House?
Wow.
I'm in the same boat, and I just have Houston and Buffalo swapped. Those are my top 2 teams without hesitation
Houston
whatsoever.
won. I like it, buddy boy.
Until I see some evidence of that defense, being vulnerable, and they match up super well with every team in the AFC playoffs. I have Houston, Buffalo, the LA Chargers, and the Jags.
Raheem.
Okay, so my model has it Houston, Buffalo, Jaguars, Broncos, but I don't agree.
What would your order be?
I think you have to move Houston down because they have some really unfortunate injuries. They lost Mario Edwards last week on the defensive line. They also lost somebody else. And then this week, in week 16, I think they lost Trent Brown. They lost some guys on the offensive line. So I just think they showed some vulnerabilities against the Raiders, which is a little bit concerning. So I'm downgrading them personally. I think I would make it Buffalo, probably Jacksonville, the Patriots, and then the Broncos. That's how I would do it. And no, I didn't include Houston. I got to include Houston. I would do Buffalo, the Patriots, Houston, and Jacksonville. Like those 4 teams.
3 different orders, AD.
Yeah.
3 different
Buffalo's
orders.
number 1 for me. I think they're by far the most reliable offense.
Because you know what you're getting with Allen.
And you know what you're
Understandable.
getting.
And
Exactly.
Cook. And Cook.
And for all their defensive flaws, I would always bet on the great offense in January to win 3 or 4 games, right? If you need to win 1 game, like your Houston or your Denver, that defense can win you a game, but you really do need at some point your offense to be consistently good. And we just haven't seen it from either of those teams enough for me. Like even yesterday, Denver's offense completely stalled out after a pretty promising start. And you're watching the second, the third quarter, and it's, mixing in 3 and outs, and Nick's was characteristically inaccurate. So I really don't know that I can trust those teams. So I will go Buffalo 1, and I'm willing to entertain the idea of New England 2, and then I would go probably Houston and Denver 3.
Okay.
You know what? I realized I did this wrong. The Chargers needs to be up there because
So who are you taking out then?
I'm taking out Denver.
Okay.
Because matter of fact, did I even put Denver in there? I don't think I
You
put
did. The
I
bottom line
had-
is you
I
got
had
the
both-
Chargers. I want to make sure we get to the third point here for 3 and out. You got Denver
Okay.
out and the Chargers in. I'll roll with that, Raheem.
No, I
I'll
didn't
roll
have
with
Denver
that.
in. So that's what
Okay.
I'm saying. Like, just the Chargers has to be in there somewhere. That's it.
That's all I need.
I agree.
We got 3 minutes, AD. Final point before we get to best bets.
Yeah, let's talk about tonight's game. Then we'll skip this along.
Good segue. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. I talked about this on the Ringer Sunday pregame show on Sunday, and I think the way to attack this Colts game is not necessarily in the market at 5.5, 6. I think if you're interested, take some alts, right? Because as we said with the Niners, if they get a lead here and they're able to play from the front, I don't really know if the Colts are able to play their way back into a game like this. I think that there's real limitations, obvious ones, that prevent them from getting into a negative game script and then digging themselves out of that trench. Once they're in the trench, it feels like you might be filling in the trench above them. So as a result, you can look into the prop market as well. So if you like the Niners, you want to take alts, that's fine. If you like the Colts, you want to take a money line, that's fine. But the prop market, last week we talked about Josh Downs over 2.5 receptions. I think the way to attack this Niners team specifically is the seams. So I think we might see some Tyler Warren. So Tyler Warren over 33.5 yards was something that jumped out to me. His usage went down a little bit last week, but not crazy. And then the other one, which I mentioned yesterday, is Alec Pierce under 1.5 receptions. I know it's crazy. Pierce under 1.5. That's so low. But he only had one target last week. It was that back shoulder throw that Rivers was able to execute. I just don't really know if he's much of a part of this offense because we know what his threat is. It's down the field. He doesn't do a ton else. And so where does he fit in this offense? I'm not really sure.
Well, I'm tailing that one. I absolutely adore it. And that gets us to best bets. Maybe it's tonight. Maybe it's Christmas. House, what's it going to be?
Oh, we can include Christmas? Then let's
Yeah,
go ahead
sure, why not?
and dance all over what Dream put out there. I adore the Dallas Cowboys on Christmas, playing them on the money line, playing them laying the 6.5, like their team total. Also, small dabble tonight in the association, like the Charlotte Hornets getting 9.5 at Cleveland. They just beat Cleveland in overtime last week. Cleveland still in disarray.
Dream.
Okay, let's go to Christmas. Let's go to Houston Rockets, Los Angeles Lakers over 230.5. Let's also go with the New York Knicks on the money line. Probably a little bit of steep price. It's like minus 200 or so. The Cleveland Cavaliers stink. They're the worst covering team in the NBA. They're like 8-20 against the spread. So that's my 2 plays for Christmas.
Like the sound of that, Juwan Jennings, anytime touchdown. Colts plus the 5.5. Knicks parlaying with everything on Christmas Day. That's going to do it for this loaded East Coast bias. Good luck to Dabbundo's Colts. For Raheem, House, JJ, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, one and all. We'll see you throughout the course of the week. Enjoy the festivities. Boys are out. Be good, everybody.
Must be 21 or older and present in select states, or 18 or older and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit rg-help.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. You must be 21 or older and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 or older and present in D.C., Kentucky, or Wyoming. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG, 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 877-8-HOPE-NEW YORK or text HOPE New York in New York.